All right, Josh. Number one, you get to bring someone up with you if you want. And if you want to, Ella, number two, you get to bring someone up with you if you want. So you guys can both be writing these at the same time. Hold on a second.
Can we actually do it, or can we just write the answers?
No, you're gonna show your work. You're gonna write it out.
Okay, fine. So this one's easy. Yeah, this one's easy. I just don't want to actually write it out.
You want me to write it out?
You can do the work already. Okay. Or do you want to write it out? We gotta like set up space.
How about we?
Oh, you like this one?
We need the right thing. Yeah.
What color? Red. All right. Yeah.
Perfect. That's your side. Stay on your side.
All I did.
I had a ghost drink yesterday. Yeah. That's pretty good. I had the same one that I tried. Well, did you know? I don't know if I told you. No. Never mind, I forget.
No, but
This is like live.
It's a front and back.
Wait, I need the eraser. 27.
Well, I'm doing the same thing. We're just
No, that doesn't apply.
It's the same thing for like for that. Did you put
No, I actually worked it out.
No, that's what I said.
But these and these would be the same anyway because it's a parallel.
So you think if I just write that and same for opposite? I'm just gonna write the same for opposite angle. Sure.
Oh no, what did we do?
So like warn us before we
Bro, 60 literally. It's so light. 27. Looking at belly? 60. Looking at belly? That's not bad, right? Oh, this does it look better light? Wait.
You could do it multiple ways.
Opposite.
So that's what we'll to get the extra line in. Yeah, that's fine. That probably. Okay.
We didn't have enough room, so we just put like how we found the X and the Y.
Alright.
And then
So number one,
I don't know if it's that right.
Josh, what'd you get for X? 58?
I think so.
Yep, and then Y is 63.5. So the two angles, it said find all the angles. So
I just put like, cause since they're opposite angles, we can go. I just put like 2.
yeah, do you guys understand that? As soon as you see a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. So if it were an exam and it said find all the angles, there's going to be answer blanks for all the angles. All right. So once you solve for X, you get 58. Why? Because consecutive angles are supplementary. So they added them up to equal 180. That's why X is 58. Plug it in and make sure those angles are supplementary. 53, 7, page.
So I just found X and then I plugged it in and then I did like 180 minus
Yeah.
53.
That's fine. For this one, I was going to say, you technically didn't have to find Y in this problem, did you?
No.
Okay, expect further question on the exam. You might have to find both X and Y. He found Y anyway, 63.5. Callie?
Is there gonna be a video of this on the Google Slides?
Being recorded right now. You can go back and listen to your voice. It's wonderful. All right, number 2. Ella. You got A is 5. I like it. B is 1.3. I like it. Then it asks for WX. Now, because it's a rhombus, all 4 sides are congruent. So once we found B is 1.3, you could plug it into any side. I got 7.9. Is that what you got?
Yes.
Oh, it looks like we swapped our. Angle and our side.
It's because we did it together. We did do that.
All right, so angle T. Did you guys get 40 degrees, or did you have 20? Now be careful. Watch up here. The key here is you have to know the properties. Now, just because these 2 problems are up here doesn't mean these are the 2 properties you're going to get on the exam. Like, for example, you see a rhombus. What other properties, and by the way, it actually uses the properties within this problem. You have to know that the diagonals are perpendicular, which they used because they set this angle equal to 90. What about the diagonals? They also bisect opposite angles. So as soon as they found A is 5, you can plug 5 in here. 5 times 5, 25, minus 5. This angle is 20. Now, it asks for angle T. Angle T is the big angle, right? So 20, that has to be 20 because the diagonals bisect the angles. So angle T is 40 degrees. Check your work. 40 degrees. Do you guys understand why? Now, what about WX? You had to plug in B is 1.3, and I erased it. Did you guys have 7.9?
Yeah.
7.9. Very good, very good. All right, numbers 3 and 4. We're on to rectangles and parallelograms. Let me mark you guys off. Josh did that one. Ella. With an assist from, was it Levi? And Ella, who assisted you? Huh? No one. All right. Next up,
I just wrote the answers.
Anthony. Number 3. And Elizabeth. Number 4.
Well, no, we got the same answer, right?
Oh, what happened?
We did.
Actually,
We did.
maybe. What happened?
That's not number 4. That's what it comes
You got 3Y.
I just wrote the wrong answer.
And then
This one feels very like
-1 and 5. Don't go so fast. Sorry. 25. This is really off.
Also, she like this part was already before. I did all. I found. Well, I did 20 divided by 16.
But the area ratio is the same. Remember how the area ratio is squared? Like say that similarity ratio is 4 times.
She was looking at it. She separated both.
The area ratio is only 16.
But then like this one part had like that.
So that's why I say that. Up down.
And then she decided to cover the whole thing.
What are you trying to do? Yeah. It's good enough.
I was like she left her camera.
Go for it.
I was like so worried if I heard her not. Like she take off her
Yeah.
so do I.
And then you know,
Back in this section, you write out 16 points.
Okay, okay.
16 over 20. So the ratio from
I'm making them really strong.
is 4 to
Yes.
5 for the size and for the perimeter. But the ratio of the areas is not 130. It's 4 widths.
I got that.
16 over 25 and 48 over 9.
I know.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's why I made a face. She was like,
Wait, 77.
I can't find it. So it's all over. I'm just looking at it. Okay, we got it. This one is a such list. Yeah, yes, it's right next to it. Oh, no, this No, it is because it said the whole whole side, so it's 77. 77.5. But you get yeah. Oh, I literally just took it. Oh,
All right. Who did number 3? Number 3. Anthony, number 3. Oh, there we go. All right, quiet. Number 3, Anthony. You got X is 13. Yes. Awesome. Good talk. Y is 12.5.
Yeah.
All right. So FH. Does that say 155?
Yeah.
Good. And then FG 122. Perfect. I like it. All right. Since it's a rectangle, and doesn't a rectangle inherit the properties of a parallelogram? So the diagonals bisect each other. That's why he could set the things with the y's in them equal to each other. All right. That's how we got y equals 12.5. Opposite sides are congruent because it's a rectangle and it's a parallelogram. That's how we get that one. Number 4. Who did number 4? Remind me, please. Elizabeth. Tell me about those consecutive angles, Elizabeth. Q and R. They are
Supplementary.
good. So she added them up to equal 180 and got B equals 9. I like it. Opposite sides are congruent. She got A is 2.4. Very nice. And it asked for angle P. She got 106 degrees. I agree. And it asked for side RS. There it is, 16.8. I agree. Very nice. Thank you. Any questions for them on those two? All right. Elizabeth, did you have an assist from anyone with you?
Madison.
What a good friend. And Anthony.
Quentin.
Awesome. All right, number 5. I'm gonna take a volunteer for number 5. What kind of? You want to have everybody come with you?
All of these are like, I really these, except for the circle one, I never really think of
Minus 41.
I just did triangle Yeah, but still, because that's how it
What level?
Yeah, it was in the circle chapter. I'm gonna do back and forget what chapter.
so nice. I have all my that would be really nice.
No, that's
You gotta show me this.
So start off x squared, put it to the negative. And then you add y squared plus 2y. You want to get rid of the 40 on this side. After that.
All right, we're gonna go over the proof.
Put negative 14 over 2, which is your base other speed. So you square it 49. And then you use x squared minus 14x plus 49. So you're adding your y over here as well. And you can feel it.
Okay, let's go over this one. Let's go over this one together. McKenna, you're real close, real close. One thing we need to make sure it's given in the picture. If I were to write this proof again, I'd probably put given. It's marked on the picture. PQ is congruent to PS. So we're going to put that. It's marked with tick marks. We're also going to put that on the given line. Okay, that'd be a little cleaner if we were writing that on the given line, not just given from the picture. Sometimes things can be given to you from the picture. All right, next, because this is a rhombus, I agree with McKenna. We want to say that angle QPT is congruent to angle SPT. Definition of the diagonals bisecting opposite angles, or not opposite angles, diagonals bisect the angles in a rhombus, right? Now, what's our goal here? And McKenna, I don't know if you saw this or not. Did you see that RQ is over here and SR is over here? So the triangle we're actually trying to prove congruent, these triangles, the blue ones here. Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Blue one and that blue one. Mm-hmm. And so right now we have S from the given, A from the diagonals bisecting the angles, okay? And maybe you want a different direction, McKenna. Maybe I'm not following you here. And once you have that, it looks like you proved PQT, this triangle congruent to this triangle. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how can we get over to the QR RS side? Because CPCTC is only going to work in the triangles we proved are congruent, right? And in these two triangles here, QR and RS are not in those triangles. Liv, what do you think?
Like PR is congruent to PR but reflexive.
Yeah, you could go. Yeah, you could say PR congruent to PR by reflexive property. So maybe we replace this PT with PR congruent to PR. Do you guys see that? Now we have a side angle side in the bigger triangle where QR and RS are a part of it. Okay? So we're going to adjust PQR, quiet please, with PSR. PQR with PSR, still by SIS, and then QR and RS are congruent by CPCTC because those sides are now in the triangles we proved are congruent. Questions on that one? Emma?
I did mine different than that. I did proving triangle QTR is congruent to STR.
That's gonna be a little trickier. You probably needed the linear pair theorem for that one. Did you need the linear pair theorem?
I didn't do that.
Okay. So there are other ways to do this. Here's what I'll say, Emma. Okay, just see if you follow this. Did you say these? Well, how did you say these angles were congruent?
I didn't. I did QRT and SRT
How though?
because of the diagonal.
But those aren't diagonals in a rhombus. Do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Like, so there's ways to do it, and I'm not trying to like embarrass anyone or call anyone out. Just there's ways that seem right, and they're tricky. I actually remember this one. It was very similar to one on a quiz. You probably want to look back at the one on the quiz. It was a little different. The one on the quiz, you had to prove, I think maybe one of these angles were congruent. You needed CPCTC. All right. Now, do you agree though? This angle here and this angle here may be congruent. They actually are congruent, but not because they're opposite angles or angles being bisected in a rhombus, because those angles aren't in that rhombus. Would you agree with that? Okay. Now, here's what I was telling you, Emma. I think you can get there, but you would need to say these angles are congruent because those are in that rhombus, right? And then aren't these two angles linear pairs to those angles? So you could get there. You could say linear pair theorem or congruent supplements theorem. Man, that's way back. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. Congruent supplements theorem. And then you could go reflexive congruent. You could go reflexive property. You could go SAS there. And then CPCTC with those ones. There's other ways to do it. Okay. If you did it a different way and you think it's right, okay, I'd be happy to check it individually and a little bit later. All right. It'd be tough for me to just break, let everybody, go crazy and then check everyone's at once. It would take too long. But if you'd like to stop in, or at the end of class, if we have time, I'd be happy to check that. All right, that was number 5. Number 6. Do I have a volunteer for number 6? Paige? And would you like assistance from anyone? Oh, even gave you a glance and said, "I'm."
That little glare.
Yeah.
Hey Tyler, what? That's a matter of one. Is he born? I think it's 6 to 5. She's almost out of it. No. But that's
She put stuff in my hair. Also, we had a good long conversation about how to
But it's like, come on.
What's wrong with being happy?
They start acting like, because the video's always like, you can't tell the moral. So the kids just act bad. The kids will learn to act bad. And also think about like, that's the third grade. It's not also, like,
I'll give you that.
they're very
Yeah, we had to get
they got
Minus 6.
She picked her nose and like, well, I'm standing
Yes.
she's an iPad, and the iPad has definition of like jump on it, like very she's definitely something. She doesn't
All right. As soon as we can say, let's go over this quickly.
Yeah, I'm there too.
Nice. We've got 2 parallelograms. I like that Paige said angle G is congruent to angle NJH. Be careful there. Don't name this angle in the center as angle J. You can't just call it angle J. Some could argue there's like 6 angles at angle J. Okay, if you consider big angles. So angle G is fine. You can call angle G angle G. It's one letter. There's only one angle there. And the steps 2 and 3 can be in different orders. If you have these in different orders, G is congruent to NJH. L is congruent to MJK. Those are opposite angles. You could say opposite angles in a parallelogram. Okay, that'd be fine too.
Are those corresponding?
Are what corresponding? Were you talking to me?
Never mind.
Hmm?
Never mind. You're so embarrassed. Why did you tell me to do something like that?
Transitive property, if G is congruent to this one and this one's congruent to L, then G is congruent to L. Transitive property, or how about not substitution here because we're not using equal signs. Guys, when we're going over this, I need you to be quiet, right? A lot of people behind you especially can't hear. Questions on that one? Thank you, Paige. All right. 7, Jared. Jared, you can bring up anybody? And then number 8. 8's a little tricky. I'll take a volunteer for that. I'm not going to put him on the spot. Alana.
Mr. Russell.
Yes.
So, are these not corresponding?
Yeah.
I got 45.
Yeah. Which is literally the same thing.
Like, I definitely was wrong.
Yeah,
Someone who's smarter than
So, are these corresponding?
That's like a 2.
That's a lie.
That is a 2.
They're nothing as far as source one.
I regret taking you up here. My eyes just aren't drying.
What's that? That's a
Oh
C.
my gosh.
Take this.
You can't go to class.
Don't believe it.
All right. Number 7. Jared, was that you? All right. Hey guys. When we go over these, like, there's what, 25 questions on here? 25. Okay. We're like barely on track to finish in time, and that's 3 whole class periods. So when it's time to go over these, I need you guys to be quiet and like focus. Some people need to do well on this. Okay, Jared. You all need to do well on this. Okay. Jared, please explain. How'd you do this? You set it up as y plus 1 over
2y
equals.
8 over 12.
Yeah, this is the one way back when we did left over right equals left over right, or right over left equals right. Remember that? Now, be careful when you cross multiply. You notice Jared was careful. He used parentheses down here. It's 12 times y plus 12 times 1. That's. Did you show your work?
Is it left over right?
Here. Jared.
What are you doing?
There's probably Ryan's influence on you.
All
All right.
Recording and see if Ryan told him.
So we have 16y. 16y equals 12y plus 12. Subtract 12y, 4y equals 12. Divide by 4, y equals 3. Did you get y equals 3, Jared?
Yeah.
I erased it, but I think you got y equals 3. Next one. This one. Yes, Kate. Yes, you may. This one could be a train wreck if you're not careful. All right. If you look back, now listen. Quick little plug for review materials. Some of you, as I walked around, didn't have the problems all the way done. Okay. And I'm not trying to be like rude or mean or anything, but there's no excuse for that. There's not the excuse of I didn't know how to do that one. Okay. Again, you've seen it, each one of these at least 6 times. you have tons of resources available to you. These were all categorized by chapter. Okay, these all have videos that go along with them. If you wanted to figure out the problem, you could figure out the problem. All right, you just had to look. So be honest with yourself. Okay, you ever if you've ever played a sport or have done like an organization of some sort, like whether it's a musical or something, do you know like in a certain sport when you're like doing conditioning and it's like you get to that point where it's like extremely uncomfortable and like if you're not used to it, what's the first reaction? Quit. Done. But then if you've done it a couple times and you have people with you and you kind of like push through that first like bit of discomfort, like you do more than you really realize you can. You know what I'm talking about? And then it gets better each time. Like treat your schoolwork like that sometimes. Okay? I'm going to challenge you guys. You're going to come to a class that really challenges you. Maybe it was this one, maybe it's another one. All right? You're going to come to a class that really challenges you. And instead of like getting an exam review and be like, oh man, I just either didn't like that problem or I didn't remember it. I don't know how to do it. Like instead of just like giving up and leaving it blank, like push through that. Like do some work. It's the same thing. All right? Push through it a little bit. Ask your friends. Look onto the videos. Try to figure it out. This is one of them. When we did this one, there were 3 components to this problem. There was the side ratio. And on the quiz, I even put a blank for the side ratio, the perimeter ratio. I'm going to abbreviate. And the area ratio. Now, I asked you to write these in reduced form. Do you agree the side ratio is 16 to 20, which is 4/5, right? Alana put 5/4. That's fine, okay? If you go 20 to 16, that reduces to 5/4. Which 2 are the same? Similarity ratio and perimeter ratio? Or similarity ratio and area ratio? Similarity ratio and perimeter, okay? They're both a ratio of 5 to 4, okay? But the area ratio is different. Do you remember how to find the area ratio? You have to square the similarity ratio. It's not 5/4. It's 5/4 squared. And when you square 5/4, 5/4 times 5/4, you get 25/16. Okay? Now, you might pretend that you've never learned this before. Okay? But if you think back and you remember food, if you remember food very well, Jackson and the pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the pizza example? How we ordered one that was like twice the size? But how many times more pizza did we get? 4 times more pizza, right? 2 squared. Or how we had to square it? It was not double the amount, the square of the amount. Okay? So back to Alana's problem. And Alana, I'm fine with you writing the 20/16 here, but all you really need is the 5/4. So I'll erase that. She cross multiplied. 4x equals 180. Is that 180? I think 5 times 30 is 6. 5 times 30 is 150. 5 times 6 is 30. 150 and 30 is 180, I believe. Okay. Divide by 4. 180 divided by 4. 90 divided by 2 is 45. Very good. So the perimeter is 45 feet. She even used correct units. Beautiful. Next, she squared 5/4 and got 25/16. Though this interactive display doesn't always cooperate. So now look up here. Watch up here. Here's how she did this. She did 25/16 equals A over, I think that should be 48, right, Alana?
Yeah.
And maybe it was a 48, but the thing glitched. Now, what if you used 4/5 and then 16 over 25. Watch up here. You would do 16 over 25 equals 48 over A. All right, these would just be flipped. So 16 A equals 12. Is it 1200? 1200. I see why it was glitching on you. Divide by 16, I get A equals 75, and so did she. 75 square feet. 75 square feet. If you got 60, what did you use? You used the similarity ratio, right? It's not. Area is squarea. Squarea. Oh, let's just square it. Easy way to remember. 75 square feet. Abbreviated as squeet. We did sixth period tell you about our units of measure we made up, the names? We abbreviated all of them. So square meters is now squeeters. Square inches is squinches. Squilometers. Squeet. It's very effective. Number 9. Do I have a volunteer for 9? You guys struggled with this one. A lot of people are asking about this one. Are these triangles congruent? No, nothing tells us these triangles are congruent. These parallel mean these angles are congruent, right? Alternate interior. Vertical angles. They're not congruent, but they are similar. And if they're similar, their sides are proportional. Proportional. Any volunteer? Kaden, what'd you get for X? Good. Come on up and do it. Number 10. 10 is tricky too. 10 is tricky. Any volunteers? I'll tell you what the right answer is if you want to do it. There's 3.
Oh, I got to do it in one.
Any volunteers for 10? Ella, you've already done one. I'm going to give other people points. I appreciate your offering them.
Hey, Christian.
Looks like Jackson wants to do it.
Can we get points tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on. The bell's going to ring. Hurry up, Kate. All right. Hey guys. Freeze. Hey, guys, listen. I want to challenge you right now. If you forgot how to do some of this stuff, or you left it blank tonight, go back and watch a video. Look in the notes. Look in the book. All right. Speaking of books, if you want to turn it in tomorrow, I will have the spreadsheet ready to go. Do not just leave it on my desk. Wait till I am face to face with you in class and turn it in. All right. Bring your books either tomorrow or Friday.
That's pretty good.
The exact moment it was when you were plus 35.